Welcome to Loving Life Creatively with Lizzie Menz, the show that dives into the heart of our community's incredible talent. Join us as we explore the world of art and creativity through inspiring interviews with local artists, live painting demonstrations, and the countless benefits of creating. Every episode, we celebrate the unique voices and visions of local artists, creators, and innovators. Welcome back. I'm Lizzie Menz, and today we're exploring the magical world of creating. I am extremely excited to introduce Deb Hall, a talented photographer and wire artist whose amazing work can typically be seen at JPAC, which is the Janesville Performing Arts Center. Thank you, Deb, for joining us today as we roll into this next episode.
Well, I appreciate being asked. This is, to me, is an honor to showcase my work, and that you're going to be showcasing other artists. That's wonderful.
Awesome, Deb. Thank you. Yes, and I can't express our gratitude enough for you to come and be on the show and help kick all this off.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're very welcome. So, Deb, please share a little bit about your journey as being a photographer and wire art. Just share with us your journey, please.
I didn't even start. I started out with photography first, and I didn't even start that till November of 2012. We had been out in Colorado, Estes Park, and I just had this little 4-megapixel camera that I took photos with. And where I happened to work, I was allowed to hang stuff on the walls, whatever I wanted. So I had this beautiful elk photo I had printed, and I hung it, and I had 4 people want it, so I sold 4 of them. And I'm going, wow, this could really work. And I needed to do something because I had spent numerous years before that taking care of family members who had ended up passing and stuff. My dearest sister-in-law, who was only 51 when she passed. So I was at a point, I had given up everything I was doing. I wasn't bowling anymore. All activity was done just to take care of them. And I just needed something for myself. So this was something I jumped in with both feet, which I do with anything. I just jump in. So it took off. I had no training. I bought my first camera, and I've had 4 different ones since 2012. And I got a program called Pick Monkey, where I was able to manipulate my art. And I like everything. I do portraits, which isn't too often, but I like to do them where they don't know I'm taking their photo. That gives you the best. Landscapes and that kind of stuff. So I just continued with that, joined the Art League, Janesville Art League in 2014. And from there on, I volunteered myself for almost everything. And I'm now currently the treasurer and membership drive person. But I love being with the Art League. So many talented people, so many great personalities. Can't ask for anything better.
Yeah, I agree. I've loved being a part of the Art League and just meeting everyone and creating some awesome friendships along with you. That's another reason why I wanted to ask you to be here, is because you're the one who recruited me to be on the Art League in the first place. So thank you again for that.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, well,
I know. I jumped into wire art a year ago, October. So thought about doing welding art. We have a welder at our house, but I thought, well, no, my husband wouldn't like that if I'm out there in his garage with his automobiles he's restoring, trying to weld. So I thought, let's go something little. So I went with wiring. I went on YouTube, found out how you can do all these things, and it was just amazing what's out there. And I just started. I made trees, and I usually use rocks or wood or something to base them. Then I went to the the wire rings, and then I jumped in. My mind kept going more and more and more, and I went to working on skulls with wire and stuff. I just jump into everything. I teach myself, and that's pretty much. I'm right now doing the wiring only, but I'm in like I've had an honorary mention at a rap show. Like I said, that's where you see a lot of my stuff is at JPAC. And then I also have a booth at Dreamers, Gifts, and Treasures. I don't remember the exact address, but it's right on the corner of Center and Kellogg. It's right next to Marco's Pizza, where it used to be a video shop. So that's where I am. That's where most of my work is right now.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. And thank you for bringing that up. I'd forgotten that you had just started that adventure as well. Yes. Yeah. On the south side of Janesville. Yes. Yes. So, what inspires you most in your work?
What inspires me most? Nothing really. It just has to be my imagination, I guess. If I see something, I know what I can do with that. Like the last one I did was a metal dress form that was about this high. And I saw it at a secondhand store, and I'm looking at it and going, I knew immediately what I wanted to do. And I didn't bring it because it's going up to the holiday show.
Oh.
And so I bought gauze, a purple gauze. I had wire mesh, which I made a big full skirt underneath it, put all lights inside. And then I did wire and beading and everything around the top and the waist and down the side where I had to trim it. Because I just put it down there, put it on. I didn't cut it out or anything. And so the lights, it's all lit at night. To me, it's called the Princess Doll.
Oh, wow.
So Are you going to just imagine things? Now, going up north the other day, we have a place we go to get away. And I'm riding, and my brain just wanders. And my first thought was, I need to do an elk statue. Why? I don't know. But my next project I'm actually working on is like, people would call it string art, but I'm doing it with the wire. And I'm doing a dragon, so I'm hoping that turns out okay. In multiple colors even.
Awesome.
And the person who inspires me the most is my very, very dearest friend, Sandy, who we share a booth with. She's an artist, and we bounce off everything from one to each other, and, maybe you should do that. Oh, that sounds wonderful, yeah. So she's actually my biggest inspiration is my best friend, Sandy.
Oh, how wonderful. That's so wonderful. And you're an inspiration to a lot of people, Deb, because the fact that you do just jump in, a lot of people are a little bit put on the brakes. They don't want to try anything. They're, they might want to try creativity, so I love that you're an inspiration to others as well. And sharing your story is amazing. Yeah, you're welcome. You're very welcome. So, can you tell us about a project that you are particularly proud of?
A project that has to do with art?
No, you know what? Whatever.
I don't know. I think the project it also inspired me artistically was when I was with the Clinton Chamber of Commerce for a number of years. I had my own business.
Oh.
That inspired me to really get out there and put myself out there. I had a business for 4 years, and then I ended up having to close it. It wasn't shortly after that we had the 2008 bubble burst. So I was in the chamber, and one of the biggest things we got is we need signage for downtown, where to turn and this and that. So we created a sign and had it made and had it put up. There were several other things that we just needed to get done. And I'm one of those that, jump in, let's get her done. So that to me was probably something that I was very proud of doing, was working with the chamber.
Sure.
Right now, as being with the Art League, I'm very proud and happy to be with it. We're expanding too.
Yes, quickly too,
yes.
Very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's because it's been stagnant for years. Just has. People don't like changes. Well, I like changes.
Yes. That's wonderful. Yeah, and you've done an amazing job over the years. You know, I've gotten the privilege to hear the stories and listen to you all talk about,
Yes.
oh, remember when, you know, so that's awesome.
Oh yeah,
That's
having
awesome.
and the one person I miss the most is Elaine Wood. She knew everything, and she wasn't an artist, but she was a huge supporter of the arts. So she inspired a lot of people. I just fell in love with her when I met her, and it's like, oh my God, you're awesome.
Oh,
So I miss her dearly.
yeah.
We all do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that too. That those inspirational people in our lives, you know, we hold them near and dear for till through eternity, I think.
Yes.
Infinity,
Yes.
infinity and
In
beyond.
fact, we had that scholarship we set up for her under her name to help support continued education in art for not just high school and college, but and to I guess the tech schools, and they have art and stuff. So we're going to start doing that, and we're so looking forward to that.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's something she would have wanted.
Oh, sure. Of course. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, what challenges have you faced in your creative journey, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Well, the one was with cataracts, so I couldn't do my photography anymore, and then just going into that. Oh, and developing migrating arthritis, which I had never heard of, but it is a thing. And it was debilitating, it was excruciating, and I just got slammed with it real quick. And thank gosh, when I went to the rheumatologist, that not the first one, but the second medicine they tried, it worked once it got in my system for like a week. And then was back. I mean, literally my joints would swell up. I would have it in both hands at the same time, or I'd have it in my foot in my hand, or I have it in my shoulder. You know, you didn't know where it was going to come. That's why I call it migrating. And then he decided to try a different one and double the dose. So I was taking it twice a day. And knock on wood, I haven't had an issue with it for over a year. So that was, because I really couldn't do anything. So that's a big thing to overcome. And I don't look back at anything. I figure I got to conquer this and go on. So that's probably the biggest one for me.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I'm so glad that you are who you are, though, and you push straight through it, you know, and that drive to, okay, let's figure this out. Let's find out, you know, what we can do to get on the other side.
And if I find out I can't resolve something, well, then I just forget it. I said, well, I can't change it. Why worry about it? You can't do that. It just drags you down. So I just go forward.
Yeah. And I think too, that having that creative mind, you push through pretty much everything, I think, you know, and using creativity as a tool, really to help you, you know, get through life.
They just do. And sometimes you just can't shut your brain off you're working on a project and all of a sudden two more pop in your head. Oh, I got to finish this one so I can get to the next one. Or sometimes I will, if I'm working on something, I just don't like the way it's coming up, I will set it aside. And I might, 2 months later go back to it. Okay, this is what I want to do with it. But I won't pull it apart. I'll just set it aside. And I'll go off to something else, so I'm totally forgetting it. And then something will come to me, and I can go finish it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and I hear too, you continually talk about how something pops into your head, and that's your influence, right?
Yes.
Is there anything else besides that influences your work?
Not really.
No,
it's just my brain.
the vision.
A vision,
yeah.
Yes, and then I have to do it. I have to try it. Now, the wire string art, but I'm going to call it wire. I don't know how I pronounce it. It's like string art, but it's wire art. This is my third attempt at doing something with a dragon. I tried twice before, didn't turn out anywhere near what I wanted. But I keep trying it because I don't want to give it up. I want to get that dragon done.
That's awesome. I painted a painting that I had a vision of a dragon, and it ended up looking like an island in the mountains.
Oh, I bet it looked pretty cool though.
Yeah, and that's the wonderful transformation that things take, when we are creating. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I know when I was first started, and I was trying to do still life at home, and I would, in my head, have the picture of what I want. But by the time I got done, a couple days later, it's like totally nothing what I thought. It just evolves. It has its own life, and it just evolves to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you've actually given me another vision of you, Deb. I mean, of course, I've gotten to, the privilege of being your friend for a while now, but your painting or your picture, the photograph of you that you won the state award this year, it now gives me a new light to that. And, for anyone who hasn't seen it, you'll have to share later with our world, where we can find
bringing it, but I didn't.
Yeah, it gives me a good insight into you, because that light that's on your face in that picture now to me is always going to be you're in a vision. You're seeing something and you're ready to go do it, So
I was just walking into my bathroom and the sunlight was coming through the Venetian blinds, and I right away there was my reflection in the mirror, so I took my phone, took some shots, and then when I wanted to do something with it, that's what I used the Pick Monkey for.
Sure.
I got rid of the whole background. Excuse me. I had photos from when I was in the Rocky Mountains, and snow-capped, and I just put one of those in the background, and it came out exactly where I wanted it. So it was so funny because my husband says, I don't like that picture. I can't believe they picked that. I says, why don't you like it? It makes you look old. He says, I am old. And that's not why they picked it. They're doing it for the composition and the lines and the lighting. Excuse me.
No,
so you're it's like, okay. You don't have to like it.
No, and that is art, right?
Yes.
It's of the eye of the beholder. Not everybody likes, what we think or we like. And and sometimes it is outstanding how others perceive something. And I think it's their perception, what they see. Yeah. Like now my perception has changed, because now when I look at that picture, that's exactly what I'm going to think of, Well,
it's one thing for art, I tried, but I don't understand abstract art. Sometimes I've been able to picture what the title is, but for the majority, 99% of the time, I don't understand abstract. I don't know what people are seeing when they're painting.
Yeah, no, my dad's along with you. Some of my abstract art that I've had, my dad always says to me, oh, shouldn't you put an airplane in there or something? So
no, I know that the artist is seeing something.
Yes.
And I just don't see it.
Yeah.
But that's because my perspective of painting is so different. That's the only part I don't understand.
Sure. Well, we're always uniquely ourselves, right?
But I enjoy everybody's art. I'm so proud to see people's art that they're showing, especially if someone was shy about it. I mean, the first time my friend Sandy, I encouraged her to enter the Beloit Rap Show years ago. She was living in Rockton at the time. So she submitted 2 pieces, and the one we thought might get an honorable mention didn't, and the other one, I got a state award. She's like, what? I says, yeah, isn't it great that people like your work?
Yes, and getting yourself out there, it's like well, I know you've heard me say this, bring out your little 4-year-old. Take your pictures around and show people, what do you do? This is what I do. I do this,
And I have a grandson who's going to be 9 in January. He is so talented. He's extremely talented. And I get to see all his art through school on a program they have, which his mom gave permission me to see. I can't believe this kid. He's just fabulous. And awesome. I encourage it. And the next time this spring when Mary Ann has her paint thing for kids, which she takes to state to show, I'm going to bring Braxton over for that.
Awesome. See, influencing all the way. Oh, yeah. Everybody.
And I encourage it. Get him drawing material and everything. And his other grandma does too. And so we encourage everything.
Yes, that's awesome. So a great segue, what inspires you and what keeps you going, and also your time management. How do you fit it all in?
Time management. I just make sure in the mornings I have everything I need to get done for the day done. I have my meals planned out, this and whatever. If I have to work outside in the garden, I go out and do the garden work in the summertime because I love being outside. any spare time I have, if my husband doesn't need me, or even the process, I'm in the middle of something, can you help me? Sure, okay. I just do it because I love it. And I've always been good at managing my time, even when I was working. The last job I was there for 9 years, and I was doing inventory control, created inventory control for where I work, 'cause they did not have it. I was doing interviews for people to get hired. I was the nurse. Everybody needed to go to the hospital or whatever, I took them over to the hospital and everything. Purchasing lumber and everything. I just did a lot of stuff. Yeah, I did all the purchasing for materials, gloves and pens and pencil, anything that people needed, I did all that. You have to be able to, I don't know, I guess I kind of like to micromanage myself, and I work well by myself. You just tell me what you want, you got it. So yeah, my time, I feel busier than I ever have though since I retired. And you wonder how you got it done when you were working and had children raising. But you did. It's just a different way now. It's for me.
Yeah, so true. Maybe I need to hire you to help me time manage because
Yeah, well, I've learned I have to start saying no. I say yes to too many things.
Well, I know that you talked about Sandy being
Yes.
right, Sandy being your biggest influence. Do you have any other mentors or anyone else? I know you mentioned a couple of others as well. Carol, right?
Just anybody that I know who does art. Oh, Mary Ann's a really big influence. She is so encouraging to everybody. She is so encouraging that when I joined the Janesville Art League, and I think it was after 2015, might have been 2016, maybe when I retired. She said, "I want you to join the at that time Wisconsin Regional Art Program, the board."
Oh,
She talked me into it. They needed someone to do the membership. I think I did it for like 2 years, and I said, I just can't do this. It's hard for me to get up and make the meetings and stuff. So yeah, I was retired then. But nah, this is not for me. So I did get that experience. But yeah, she's people who influence me by their love of what they do, what they create, and the fact that a lot of artists, we support each other. I mean, I've run across some people who find it hard to support each other because they feel they're so inadequate themselves. So they're the ones you try and encourage the most. Just do it, just do it, just do it. Don't worry about what other people think, because you'll be surprised what they'll think when they see your work. You might think it's crummy, but other people will go, "Oh my gosh, look at that, that's awesome."
yeah.
So, yeah, just other artists inspire me.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. I agree. I agree with you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really do. So, Deb, what advice would you give? I mean, you've kind of already, said some of it, but what other advice would you give to our creative world that would be an inspiration to them?
Do it when you can. A lot of times we don't have the opportunity once we're married and have kids and raising kids, because I did draw and paint before that. But it's just do it. Just believe in yourself. Pick up a paper, pick up a pencil, doodle. Just doodling is art. And I was always a doodler. So consider that art. Whatever you do, just don't be afraid to do it. Take 10 minutes. You don't need anything more. You just start and go on from there, and be creative, be risky. Try something you've never done before. And don't be afraid to jump in with both feet and do it. Don't be intimidated by it, or by somebody else's art, thinking, "Oh, I can never be like that." Well, no, you're not that artist. You are yourself. You're going to do your art. Don't try to copy somebody. Don't try to think, "Oh, I need to paint as good as that." You don't need to. Just love yourself and do it.
Wonderful advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And thank you so very much again for being on the show with us. And Deb, you're an inspiration, and I would love for people to come and see you at JPAC. I know you volunteer a lot, of course, there too, as well. And thank you for sharing your story with us.
You're welcome.
And have a great afternoon, and I know I'll see you soon.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
All right, after that amazing interview with Deb, let's dive back into a little bit more about my journey. We'll talk more about more benefits of creating, and we'll share some tips on how art can continue to enrich our lives. Plus, we'll highlight where you can find Deb and purchase these amazing pieces that she shared with us today. So walk on over with me to the canvas that we were working on the last time. Now, how many of you remember to take a picture of your different types of colors that you utilized? Of course, I have the benefit of putting all of them on top, so it was easy for me, but I'm hoping that you did take that little idea and take a picture of what you were utilizing. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm just going to kind of take a step back and take a look at this painting. I don't know how often you have looked at yours throughout the time before we are here again, but sometimes just taking a little bit of a step back and just dreaming a little. Sometimes we just need a little bit of time for a vision. What I'm envisioning are where I'm going to put the clouds, how I'm going to finish off, and maybe I'll even add in some treetops. The wonderful thing about creating, and while you're doing this with me, just think about what really stands out when you look at either your picture, if you do have a picture that you're looking at, or even heck, if you are lucky enough that you get to look out your window and see a sunrise right at this moment when you're painting with me, how cool is that? So because I am hugely into strong, big, bold colors, I think that's what I'm going to start with first, is I'm going to go back in and accent some of these colors before I start adding in the clouds. And I did the cardinal thing that I told you all not to do. I had blue water, and I ended up making it a little green. So I'm also going to show you how easy it is to cover those things up when you do make a little bit of a mistake. Black. If you try to paint black, that one is probably the hardest one that you can cover up, but you can do it, and I can show you that as well. So I'm going to start with this super cool color that I had told you is that thick, pasty, pinkish, orangish is what I'm envisioning. And I'm going to add a little water to this super thick paint. And I'm really going to start focusing on accenting stuff, like really bringing out those bold colors. Now I'm actually using a different type of a brush too. The ones that I utilized before were very calm, lackadaisical bristles. I'll call them lackadaisical bristles. This one's a little bit more rigid. And this is what I'm going to also utilize for my clouds when we get to that. The great thing about laying the foundation like we did in the last episode, you can really take a look and see where you really want to add in more of that accent color. And because I'm using this pink, I'm also going to use yellow, because I know that they're not going to change to green, first off. And I'm also going to grab some white, just to make it a little more make it pop a little bit more. Oh yeah, and There's the more of that orange. You know, that light orange when the sun starts to come up. I also love mixing orange and purple. I did not realize that until I painted this one. And this one actually was the very first sunrise that I ever painted. And I had so much fun painting this and didn't even look at the sky the way that I do now at all. I really didn't. Make sure that doesn't fall. That is the one thing about canvases, is they are a little fragile, so you want to make really sure that you don't lean them against something that can alter the canvas at all. I have done that myself and put it on an easel, a small easel, and then you end up getting the marks of the easel. Like on this one, you wouldn't want to do that if you have a very small painting that you're working on. Just another side tip. And you think about when the sun starts to come up, what happens is it just takes over the sky. Like the energy of the sun, the colors just really take over the sky. So that's my other vision in this, is we're going to keep adding in those yellows, and we're going to cover up my green with a bit more yellow and the white. To add in that transition. So now what I'm going to do is going to grab purple. And this one is an iridescent purple. And my dark blue. What I'm thinking of now is as I add in these deeper colors, when I start putting the clouds over the top of them, you're going to get that back deep accent of the color behind the clouds. And that's another one of my favorite things to do. And I have to ask you all, how have you been feeling when you're creating with me? You're spending this time with me. You're spending this time for yourself. Write a few things down of what you're thinking, what's going on in your mind. One of the most profound things to do is to journal, to write down anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Write down those things, because later when you look at them, you will have a foundation to start from of maybe you do have some things that you want to work on. Maybe you find all of a sudden a passion that you have. Whatever that is, getting them out of your subconscious and putting them down on paper, it quiets your mind down so much that as you continue to paint, continue to create, continue to woodwork, write a book, create a song, learn to play the guitar, whatever those things are. That's one of the things that I'm doing, is learning to play the mandolin. And honestly, I have found, and I didn't know this until I started doing this, is playing the mandolin does the same thing as painting. That creative side of our brain, once that's really rocking and rolling, it's just magical what happens to our brain. So make some comments to see how you're feeling. You know, really pay attention to those kinds of things as well. All right, so I've got my purple and my blue, and as we know, I was using yellow, so I'm not going to mix that with the blue or the purple. I'm actually going to utilize a different brush at the moment. So I'm now going to go with a little thicker brush again, and we're going to add in some of this deep. And this deep blue color is one of my most favorite colors as well. And you know, when you go to the store, I would suggest, don't go online for the first couple of times. If you've never painted before, if you've never picked your colors, go to a store, feel them, look at them, really envision what you would like to paint. And it's so much fun. That was another one of my favorite things to do, is just go into a store that sells a bunch of different types of acrylic paints and stare at them. All right, so again, thinking about the sunrise coming up, and I've got a really dark blue, I'm going to start with my dark blue up here and start adding some accents to that dark blue. And you know, remember I'd said you always want to paint the top of it. I'm going to actually paint the top of it with that dark blue, because then you're really going to get that gradient, those gradients of colors. In our next episode, I'm going to share with you the different types of colors and what they actually really do to your brain as you stare at them. We'll dive a little deeper into just the scientific part of colors. I suppose the science, it is science, I believe, because it is creating a color. You know, at one time in my life, I went and I met with a PGA. It was a woman in PGA, and I wanted to get new clubs. And she told me that she wanted me to pick out the color of the club head, you know, for my driver. For those of you out there that are golfers, she wanted me to pick a color. And I looked at her and I said, why would I want to pick a color? Don't I really want to go with the size of the club, you know, the length of the club? I'm a little shorter in stature, you know, isn't that what I really need to focus on? And she said, no, what I really want you to focus on is the color. She said, because if you like it, when you look down at that club and you like the color, you think it's cool, it actually helps your game. Who would have thought? I never would have thought that. So it's the same as painting. Paint with the colors you love. All right, so because I mixed my white with my yellow, I'm going to put another dollop of white on my, just so I can tone it down a little bit. I don't want to tone it down too much, but as you can see, it's really bold now, right? Those colors are really bold. So we're just going to add a little bit more. And I'm really mixing the purple and the blue. The one thing about acrylic paint too is once you start really painting on a certain section of your painting, you want to give it some time to dry, especially if you're using a little heavier paint and you really want that bold color to stand out. You want to give it a rest. Just give it a rest and move on to different colors on the palette. So what I'm going to do is kind of switch gears and go down here a little bit and start adding in that purple, the purple and the blue. And I still love the purple and orange mixtures. And of course, you always get paint on your hands. At least I do. Maybe you don't, but I certainly do. You know what, I earlier had said that I would share a little bit more about my journey. I don't know about you all, but when we were stuck in lockdown, I went about crazy because I am such a people person and I missed my family. I missed hugging people. I missed talking to people in person. Yes, we had Teams. You know, I mean, we had the video chats. We had all those things, but it just didn't fill that void that I was feeling. So my husband said to me, oh my gosh, honey, just pick a wall and paint it. And I looked at him excitedly and I said, you want me to pick a whole wall? And he said, yes, please do. So I did, and I painted our entire dining room wall into a beach scene. And it was the most profound day that I can tell you. And that's really that was the catalyst that made me realize the importance of creating and what it does for your mind. Because throughout that entire day, I woke up in the morning, started to paint, only drank coffee. By the end of the day, the sun was going down. I was yelling outside saying, why is the sun setting? What is happening? And I didn't worry about a thing. I just was so hyper-focused on what I was doing, and I found my passion. At that moment in time, I found that passion. So I know that lockdown in some ways was, it was a crazy, terrible time. and we all learned many things from it, you know, and for me, that was one of the most profound things, is I found this. I found creating. And I am so excited and happy to share it with all of you. All right. So now, as you can tell, all we have is a bunch of colors, right? What we're going to start doing is start blending all of this together and start creating our clouds. And I really have some brushes that are really good at that. You can get these big puffy brushes. I'm sure there's probably a technical term for these brushes, but I call it the puffy brush. There's also a little bit more rigid puffy brush as well that I utilize, but you really can get that the cloud look with those brushes. And I'm going to grab a paper towel. So I don't get glue everywhere. All right, so now that we've given the, the top part of this a little bit of time to dry, I'm going to start blending in some clouds. So at first, they're going to be super standoffy, stand out. They'll really stand out. But then as we keep going, we'll keep blending. And, you know, the little kid in us that loves to look at clouds and really, really see dragons and dogs and airplanes and things. I mean, not real airplanes, obviously. We're going to see real airplanes, but when you see clouds and you look at them and you see shapes and things, have fun with that too. Add in some of those shapes. So what I'm doing now is I am mixing the white with the blue and a little bit of purple on my brush, and I'm going to start blending those in. Because as we know, clouds really take on the color that is bright across it. The yellows, the pinks, all of that. So as we start filling that in, and remember it was nighttime, so we're really trying to depict that gradient of change from nighttime to the sunrise. I'd love to know how many of you all love the sunrises. And not just when you're on vacation at a big resort, that you go outside when on a regular day, work day, go outside and look at the sunrise. Changes your trajectory, I promise. It'll change your trajectory. Now, when you're thinking of your sunrise, you can put as many clouds as you want, as little as you want. It's really, of course, it's up to you because it's in your head. This is your creation. This is your sky. Even if you're looking at a picture of your sky, just know it doesn't have to look exactly the same. It can be just what you create, and really play with these colors. You'll have a ball, I promise. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my brush a little bit of water, give it a little bit of water. I'm going to add in a little bit of the orange with my blue and just add just little areas with the pink. And because my brush is wet, it's really going to blend in with the colors that I already put out there. And as you can see, it starts to really, really blend. And don't be afraid to play with your brushes too. This brush I played with a lot before I kind of got that good technique going. There is a lot of YouTube videos out there too that will show you more of a technique. I know you're watching me do it. I know sometimes it's a little easier to, for me anyways, it's easier for me to do it than to watch somebody else do it. So really play with it. With that, I can't wait to see what you all create. Please share with me. Come find me on Facebook, on our YouTube channel. Share with me what you have going on. I'd love to see your final products. Heck, I'd love to see the transition too. If you have what you began with and what your end result is, please share. I would love to see the progression. So with that, we will, I guess, I can't wait to see you at the next episode, and we will start working on some other techniques. So Deb, you brought some of your super cool inspirational pieces here. Please share with us your creations.
Okay. Well, this one is, well, she is now 13. It was the granddaughter of family members, on my husband's side. And she wasn't feeling good that day. She was being very shy. It was Easter. And she was on the porch with her dad, just kind of, but she was so cute, the way she's dressed up. So I was out there taking photos for everybody anyway, so I started focusing on her. And I got some really, really beautiful shots. Her grandma has a larger one of these in her house. This one was, I got to say the word at wrap for this one to go to state. So that was fun. The one right here with the trees in the pond, that was taken up at Goose Pond up in the Cedar National Wildlife area. Won an award for that. I sold 2 or 3 pieces, different sizes, different material. But really, it got to me, and this is on metal. This is just canvas, or photo. So anyways, one of the other artists asked for my permission to paint it, and he did. Oh. And then when he took it to a show, we had to put on that. I would give him the permission and stuff. And he won an award for his painting. It's just a beautiful piece of autumn fall. Now that one over there, that is the Mackinac Bridge. And what I did, you can tell it's a manipulation. I did it black and white. I flipped it because it was going the other way, and then I split it. And then what I did then was like, okay, I'm going to put this starburst lights in it. So I have like 3 or 4 different layers of starburst, and I call it Infinity. And that's on metal also. I just love that piece. So my most recent piece is the one on the table with the ring with the gold and red leaves. It's got pearls in it, and I take the wire, I just think, how do I want it to look? And I just start twisting wire together. And you have to make sure, it took me a couple tries to figure out how much wire do I need to everything look balanced. And those have leaves that are made with wire, so I have to curl it all, then I have to twist it all, then I add beads to it. And what I do with them on the back side, I'll flip it over, and I glue it all so nothing's loose. Because sometimes the wire will break or whatever. The one next to it, with the purple ones, that's another tree design I just threw together. It's not quite done. And then the one next to it it's only 7 inches tall. But I like glitter. So and it's a fall tree, so I got some leaves on the bottom. And it's actually on a mushroom shelf that you get off trees. I have a bigger one I'm working on. I haven't decided how I'm going to do, with a little train through it already.
So is it resin? Did you use resin on top of it to
Nope.
make it? What did you put on it?
That is just glue.
Oh, it's just
I
glue.
use Gorilla Glue. Now the tree stuck on is done with it's got some screws in it, and then the resin, the glue. Now if you notice, I don't have it on the purple one yet because I'm not done. But the other two have a heart on it. And that's my signature for my work that I do with the wire. I have a heart on every piece that I've done. And
Super cool.
yep, even the little skeleton guy. I love steampunk. So I've done several. I even did a hat I wore for Halloween. So this is just a skull I picked up. Figured out what I wanted to do with it. I've sold a couple pieces and just created it with lights. I like lights on stuff.
That's awesome.
So that's what I do with some of my samples.
Yes, it's so talented. And over the time that I've known you, to listen to you talk about your wire art and all the different ways that you utilize, your hands, especially when you're talking about, what you did go through, health-wise.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it if I still had that going on.
Yeah, because that wire bending your hands are, strong, very strong to be able to do that. That's
doing as much. I can do 2-3 pieces a day.
Oh my gosh.
Especially if I have the house to myself.
Yeah.
It wire can prick you pretty good. You can't see it now, but when I was working with my mesh wire on the Princess, it just tore my whole arm up because it's very. And then I have to work at making sure that I don't have any rough edges around anymore so people don't get. But it doesn't bother me. It just is what it is.
Creating is painful sometimes.
It isn't, but you get beauty afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Well, share with us again. I know you touched on it a little bit, but share with us again. Where can we go and buy your art? Where are you?
You can go to JPAC anytime we have a show going on, and we will have our holiday show coming up. Then I also have a booth. I've only been there since October, and I've sold 4 pieces.
Awesome.
At Dreamers, Gifts, and Treasures, which is on the corner of Kellogg and Center Street. I don't know the actual, but you can't miss it. It's right on the corner. It's attached to Marco's Pizza, and which is also good pizza too. And they're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 5, and Sundays 11 to 4. They are closed Mondays. And it's been hard for them because they opened up in February, and with all the street construction, it's been hard, but they're going to get it. They're going to get it. So yeah, that's a good place to find stuff. I just sold 2 pieces this week.
Awesome. Well, and I can't wait to see the Princess too. I can't wait.
You'll love it.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Deb, thank you again for joining us, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm not only just grateful for you to be here, but I'm also grateful for our friendship and how we met and working together, in the RAP program and, Art League and all the things. So, yeah, I'm excited.
And I believe it's all meant to be when we meet people and you become friends and you're similar minded and stuff. It's like, meant to be.
Yes, kindred spirits. Yes.
I appreciate you inviting me, and I've had a great time.
Wonderful. Yes. Yay. Thanks again, Deb.
Yeah.
It truly has been an honor sharing this time with you. Creating is an exhilarating escape that quiets the mind and fuels positivity. When you dive into the creative process, it's like flipping a switch that drowns out the noise and fills you with a vibrant energy. Every brushstroke, word, or note is a step towards a joyful accomplishment, making the world brighter and your spirit a little lighter. Creating really is for everyone. Until next time, keep creating, keep inspiring, and keep loving life creatively. We will see you again soon.